The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Bill Ayers, former leader of the domestic terror group, the Weather Underground, just did an interview with Fox News, and Megyn Kelly had plenty of questions for him.
How many bombings are you responsible for?
The Weather Underground, I think, took credit for just slightly over 20 in a period when there were 20,000 bombings in the United States against the war.
And how about you personally?
Me personally, I've never talked about it, never will.
Oh.
So not only won't Ayers talk about his violent past, he also seems to be suffering from a serious case of amnesia about it.
Just because you went underground didn't mean the violence stopped.
What violence?
Well, June 9th, 1970, you bombed the New York City Police headquarters.
Okay, so now again, you're
March 1st, let me just list it.
Yeah.
March 1st, 1971, you bombed the U.S. Capitol. May 19th, 1972, you bombed the Pentagon. January 29th, 1975, you bombed the State Department. That's what I mean by violence.
What I got from this interview, Dana, is that Bill Ayers hasn't changed one bit. Most people knew who he was. If they don't, they know now. But if they've forgotten, they remember very quickly that he's still unapologetic and saying the same things he's been saying for years.
And what's amazing is that in our society, apparently it is more acceptable to be friends with Bill Ayers than it is to be friends with the Koch brothers. Because Harry Reid can go on the Senate floor, call the Koch brothers un-American, all these other things. I'm not trying to compare them directly, but it is amazing that he went on to have a pretty good career, make a lot of money, sell a lot of books, and Tucker got to even meet him personally.
How is he, Tucker, as a
I had dinner with him. Andrew Breitbart and I had dinner with him a couple of years ago in Chicago. And I'm not just saying this because I disagree with his politics. I disagree with a lot of people's politics. He's one of the creepiest people I've ever met. There's something furtive and weird about him, and kind of wet and oily and just disgusting. No, and I mean that with total sincerity. But I will say, can I say one thing? This reminds me of something that's been irritating me for the past 6 years. During one of the presidential debates in 2008, Obama was asked about this, and he said, yeah, I'm friends with Bill Ayers. I'm also friends with Tom Coburn. So it kind of equals out. Tom Coburn, the senator from Oklahoma. That is an outrageous thing to say. He was never held accountable for that. To compare those two, Coburn's a great guy. Ayers is a criminal. He really ought to be held accountable.
I just got to say that what an incredible day and incredible news. We go back 45 years. Why don't we go back to the FDR chicken debates?
Okay.
I mean, this is the most ridiculous. The guy met him one time. This guy's 45 years ago. He may have bombed a few things. He may not have.
May have bombed a few things?
Well, actually, other people may have been involved in some of this stuff, but the point was you guys were not around then during that war. It was a despicable, horrible war, and in some cases it took some pretty radical action to try to stop it.
Well, that's not horrible. They weren't trying to stop it. They were rooting for the other side. They were rooting for the Viet Cong.
Not everybody.
They were. I
was against the war.
They were.
At least John Wayne Gacy was secretive about his serial killings. I mean, to Tucker's point, there is something very creepy about someone who repeatedly bombs locations, doing it for public acclaim, and then denies that it's even violent.
Well, he's evil. My first question is, why is he still alive? His career should not be as a professor, but as a corpse. But the best part about his bombing is that he's inept. He was one of the worst bombers. His bombs actually killed, the Weather Underground, killed his own friends. And yet, that's why he became a professor, because you could be inept and still get tenure. He is a lizard. You know, you said he's creepy.
That's such a good line.
He is a lizard. Old guys with earrings. I mean, he thinks his students are going to sleep with them. When he walks by, they laugh at that scumbag. He's a creep, and his creepy attempts at flirting. He's such a pathetic little animal.
Can you tell me why you think we're even talking about this?
Because it's important.
Why is it important?
Because this should have counted in the election, because the media let this crap slide. The media let Obama become president while being pals with a bomber who tried to kill police and tried to kill the military. If Ayers was a man, he would visit the relatives of the victims and explain his stance to them. Don't explain it to Megyn Kelly. Explain it to the relatives of the victims. He's such a dirtbag.
Hey, wait a minute. Obama went to his house one time.
There, you know there's... Oh, please, Bob. Do you actually believe that?
Absolutely.
All right. To use one of your lines, I have a bridge to sell you.
Okay, well, I mean, I just... The idea we should keep looking at him as a friend. I mean, because Tucker's more of a friend. He went out to dinner with him.
Bob, we don't have time to play the soundbite, but the woman that he married, Bernadine Dorn, is notorious for praising Charles Manson, who killed a pregnant woman, ate dinner in the next room, and she said, quote, "It's far out." were really
I know
in
it's
support
Friday,
of what
but
he
it's
did.
interesting to pick out something like this and go with it and make it a big
But
deal.
Bob,
it's
this
not a big
doesn't
deal.
disturb you?
It's not a big deal. It's
Doesn't this
ridiculous we're
disturb you?
talking about it.
See, there's more coverage about Romney's family dog
There should have been.
traveling on the top of his car than there was about even if it was, if they were friendly and they only got together one time. I mean, you would think that fair coverage would have covered equal.
Isn't this
A Tea Partier never
important?
bombed
I mean,
anything.
we didn't vet President Obama now, but at some point we're going to have an honest conversation about who he is and where he came from at some point. Why we're getting what we're getting now.
If you think reality matters and you're invested in that old-fashioned linear Western thinking, yeah, I guess. But we're very into our iPhone, so that day may never come.
Just bring more evidence to the table and we'll talk about it.
Well, tune in Monday night for Megyn's full interview with Bill Ayers. That's 9 p.m. Eastern on the Kelly File.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.